I love that you love Tory Lanez.
Oh my God, me too. Hi, Devika. Oh my God. So nice to meet you. How are you?
So nice to meet you too. I'm great. Thank you so much for making it.
Thank you. Oh my God. I'm so excited and just honored to be on your podcast. Like, it's so amazing.
Of course. The first question I wanted to ask you is before we get started is what made you say yes?
I saw that Matt was on your podcast.
Yes.
I love him. And I feel like it's a really cool opportunity, something that's really outside of my comfort zone, if I'm being honest. I've never been on a podcast before.
Right.
And just from like watching your videos and seeing you on social, you seem like such an intelligent and kind and just bubbly person, lots of good energy. So I'm just really excited to meet you and hopefully get to know you more too.
I appreciate those kind words. I hope you have an amazing time. I feel like, while I was doing my research on you, I stumbled upon your blog. Today I was having like a tough day and I stumbled upon, The Light Is Coming. And I felt like it was just so beautifully written. It felt like a hug, and it brought such a smile to my face. So I genuinely wanted to ask what inspired you to start writing?
So I've always loved writing ever since I was little. I remember like being in like 4th or 5th grade and just like writing stories in my notebook. And when I got into like high school age, I started reading a lot of beauty blogs and fashion blogs. And I was like, maybe I could like do that too. I'd always dreamed of becoming a beauty writer, a fashion writer. And I also got into wellness too. And I would just read these blogs and just be like, oh my God, like I would love to be able to do that myself. And then it was my senior year of college and we had this project. We had to make like a senior project or portfolio or something. And college was a really busy time for me because I graduated a year early. So I already had like a lot on my plate. And I was like, okay, like this is a perfect opportunity for me to start my blog because I had always wanted to start one. And I was like, okay, because like one of the examples that they gave was that we could start a blog for this project. Right. And I was like, okay, this is my shot. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I just kind of like started writing. I originally had an Instagram to go along with it, but I just feel like it wasn't the best way to get the information
that message
out that I wanted to. Yeah, like the captions were just like, it just wasn't enough space to just like write how I wanted to. Yeah. And so I got rid of the Instagram and then I just started writing on the blog, and I wrote for the duration of the project, and then I just, kept going with it. And sometimes I've been more, consistent than others with me writing on it, but I've been trying to be as consistent as possible. And it's just a great creative outlet for me too. I get to write about all the things that I love. And I just like it to feel like, like a hug, like you said, just like a casual conversation. That's the type of stuff that I like to read. Yeah. And that's the type of writing that I like to do myself.
That's amazing. I really genuinely want to say thank you so much for writing that. I feel like we as humans go through such similar emotions, whether it comes to like mental health or whether it comes to professional life or whether it comes to personal life. But only a few people, like artists, whether it's in terms of music or writing, are able to articulate those emotions. So when you read them, you feel like, damn, like I was feeling that. I just couldn't, like kind of put it out that into words. So, like, it's amazing. Thank you so much for writing that. I genuinely want to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like the mindset stuff, it's really a choice that, we have to make every day. And it's like, don't get me wrong. Like it's all stuff that I'm still working on too. And I love to just, share different things about like, mindset, wellness, stuff like that I just hope like helps people, and it's like we're all on this journey together, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Initially, when you decide to start writing, I feel like a lot of people want to write, whether it's blogging, whether it's a journaling format, but then they really get caught up in the mindset of, like, who cares? I'm not good enough. Like, who's gonna read? Why am I putting in so much effort? Or feel a little sensitive towards putting their feelings and emotions out into the public. So how did you manage those emotions?
That is an amazing question. So when I started to be more consistent with posting, it was because my mentor, Sam, she encouraged me to just keep writing. And she told me that, it might be hard to be consistent and just keep going. You might feel that way, like nobody cares. Like I don't have, tons of followers, but she was like, it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay off in, one way or another. And I think that just getting the reps in, producing that volume of work, kind of like, what Gary talks about, that's like, the more reps that you get in, the more practice that you get, then the naturally, the more, what am I trying to say? Like the more natural it'll
Definitely, yeah. You get better
and it'll
better.
Become better at it through the practice. And I also think too, it can be hard for me to share, more deep emotional things, but I feel like I always appreciate it when other people share things. And so I hope that I can help someone by sharing the things that maybe I struggle with, or, things that I'm working on. And it just kind of feels like a weight is lifted off your shoulders almost. And I feel like it's hard to do, but people ultimately really appreciate it, and it's beneficial for you and for the other person. And obviously you don't have to like share anything that you don't want to, but like, talking about my struggles too, has been very cathartic for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. What would you say, since after putting out so much content and blogging, what would you say has been the biggest return on investment for you from writing the blogs?
Oh, I think it's just having a space that represents me, that someone can go to and just kind of see what I'm all about, and just like having a little like home for all of that. And I do really like, I much prefer my blog like over Instagram or anything like that. I feel like it's just kind of like safe space. I don't know, something like that. That's just, like it's like, you don't see the number of likes or comments, and it's just a place for me to just be creative and express myself, and for other people to hopefully get value from that.
And your websites, by the way, is beautiful. Like, how did you manage to like do that?
So I use Squarespace for my like template, and my website was totally inspired by my mentor Sam's website. I think that she probably uses Squarespace as well. And I like gently plan things out, not like a crazy amount. But I think it's like Squarespace definitely makes it really easy. Some of it came naturally, but then I also just did like some research on how to do things. It's really simple. It's not super complex. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, like as soon as I even landed on it, not just like your blogs are super like comfortable to read, but even the website has that similar vibe. So I know like it takes a lot of effort and a lot of thought has gone into it, and it shows. So I just wanted to say that. Congratulations on joining GMG recently. Please, for someone who might not know, GMG is Gallery Media Group, which is owned by VaynerX. So how was your onboarding experience? Please talk about that.
Oh my God. So for context, I guess I'll just kind of take it back to graduation. So last May of 2021, I graduated, and I, immediately started applying for jobs, probably even like a little bit before. And I was just like applying to a lot of these, reach companies, because I wanted to do like journalism and writing and communication, stuff like that. Just like anything in digital media, I was super interested in. And I had an internship, and then I did some like contract freelance work. And I was just like applying and following up. And I just like wasn't really getting anywhere. I think I had a total of like 4 interviews. because I think just, the job market, it's like, I heard it was a tough time overall, but I wasn't letting that get to me. I was like, I know that the right job will come for me when it's time. And that's what everyone was telling me too. Like, the right job will come and it will be effortless and you'll know that it's the right one. And so after doing, those like internships and freelance stuff and applying for, I think like I counted 36 jobs, which obviously,
Wow,
there's a lot of effort and time that goes into making your resume and cover letter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I met my mentor, Sam, in person. That was in December, and she told me about Gallery Media Group. And I was immediately intrigued, obviously, because, they're a part of VaynerX, and it's my dream to meet Gary. Probably everyone's dream. And she told me about them, and I applied for a couple of the positions. And actually, right before I met her, I had interviewed for a creator resident position. I had my interview with Matt, and I think it wasn't like that role wasn't quite the fit for me, because I'm not sure if I could have kept up with like the volume of content that the creators make. It's definitely like a difficult job. And that one wasn't starting for, I think, like another 6 months. So it was kind of like, like it wasn't moving forward, that process. I don't even know if I like would have gotten it anyways. But then I applied for a couple of positions at GMG, and I was waiting to hear back. It had been like a few weeks, I think, and then randomly I just decided to reach out to Kelly from HR. She's an absolute angel. I love her. And I didn't think that I was going to get a response, like, for some reason. And I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and she responded like so fast. And she was like, yeah, like, let's chat. Love to get to know you. And so I talked with her. I talked with a couple different departments. I think the growth and strategy department. I can't remember. And then I also talked to the influencer department. And then it all happened like super fast too. And the position that I have now, the influencer marketing resident, I didn't even technically like apply for. I don't really remember which ones I exactly applied for. But I just talked to a couple people from there too. And then I was just like onboarded like that. And I actually started on Valentine's Day, which is like super cute, I think. I'm always like, my job was my Valentine. And so I started then, and then the influencer residency is for 3 months, and then crossing my fingers, I'll get to go full time after that. And it's completely remote, so I haven't in person, gotten to meet my colleagues yet, but I'm hoping to really soon. And yeah, it's just been so amazing. Everyone there is so kind. Like when if you look into VaynerX, you'll see they're all about the compassion and kindness and just like putting their people first. And that just really shows in the culture of GMG, VaynerMedia. We work closely with people from VaynerMedia and Vayner Talent, and everyone is just so amazing. And I just feel honestly so blessed to be here. And at GMG, because honestly, GMG brought me this opportunity right here. And yeah, it's just an amazing company. So if I'm like encouraging all my friends who are graduating, I'm like, apply at GMG, like, you'll love it. So yeah, it's amazing. I look forward to my work every day, which I feel like is something that maybe it's rare, maybe it's not, I don't know, but I look forward to it genuinely every day.
That is so amazing. I'm so inspired by that story, like I feel like a lot of people apply at one place and then they, like don't make it there, so they kind of give up, but you persevered and it was a company that you really wanted to get into. So I'm super curious to know, you said you applied to different roles and you graduated just from college, and a role like influencer marketing, it's something that, you're not even taught in college. Like, you must be learning so much like in board. So how did you have the confidence to apply, and then how do you deal with that? Like, Please elaborate.
Yeah, so I had an internship briefly at another like smaller influencer agency, and I was kind of doing the opposite of what I'm doing now. So at this other agency, I was like on the influencers side, so I was pitching them out to brands, and that was like, it was definitely difficult because it was like, I feel like the brands are, you know, like they're not as likely to like check their email for opportunities. Like they, you know, I don't know what the process exactly is like. But I had gotten some experience there, and I knew that I had really liked the influencer space. Obviously, you know, I'm a 21-year-old girl. I love social media and influencers. I have my favorite influencers that I follow. Yeah. And I think it's just a really cool environment and atmosphere. Is always evolving. And when I was in school, I studied more of the like, I guess, traditional PR, marketing, communications, media studies. Right. And in our textbook, there is like, you know, a tiny bit about influencer, but then there is like, you know, they elaborated much more on other elements of marketing, which this is a very, you know, new type of marketing. And my old boss, she would always say like, you know, influencer is the new advertising, you know, like people, they would used to get celebrities on or make, you know, TV ads, but it's like everyone's, you know, on social media now. So it's like the most effective use of a brand's money is to get, you know, their influencer who has, you know, the target market that they want to reach, to get them to talk about their product. And obviously it's a very lucrative industry. Yeah. And, you know, I, you know, see from my side how much these influencers are getting paid. And it's like, wow, like it's so true that it's like, it's, you know, the new way of marketing. So I think it's really cool to be in that. And I've learned so much just about like how to communicate with them and just how much work goes into a campaign. Like it's not just like before, what I thought was that the influencer would get sent product and they just post about it and, you know, that's it, it's all good, and then they get paid. But it's a much more complex process, and there's, you know, bumps along the way that we have to work out with the influencer. So, you know, they have to, we, you know, reach out to them, ask them if they are interested in this campaign. If they are, they'll give us, you know, an idea of their rate and what they're thinking, how they're going to incorporate the product or service or whatever into their content. And then, you know, we have these other account managers who communicate with the brand, and then we communicate with the account managers, and then we go back and forth, making sure that the brand likes their content. They go through drafts and revisions, and then it's like, you know, they post and they make it look so effortless, but it's really like there's so much work, and it's a whole process that goes into that, into the final piece of content. And it's really cool to be a part of that.
That's amazing. What would you say was like one of the defining characteristics about your application that got you this job?
Oh, I really don't know. I feel like the whole process was very, I don't want to say it was like casual. Like I feel like GMG and VaynerMedia and VaynerX are very like non-traditional companies, which I love. Like they're not like, you know, like how Matt said, like they will hire people, you know, without degrees, because they can tell from their drive and their work ethic that they will succeed. And I think that they're just so smart in that. And I think like one of the, you know, parts on the applications and one of the key parts of their website is that, you know, just your character is so important. And I think that that is hopefully something that more and more companies will, you know, take into account. Like even if someone doesn't have all the experience, like I literally had 2 months of like influencer marketing experience. I had some more experience in social and writing, but not that much in influencer. Right. But I hope they were able to tell by, you know, my passion and my, you know, willingness to work that I would be a good fit for their team. And I think it just, comes down to, showing that you care and, being kind. And it was really great. Like I just had, these conversations with people. Like I think that they were, probably technically interviews, but I just thought that I was just, chatting with someone from the company and learning more about GMG, and they could learn more about me and what my skills were. And it was just a really like maybe not effortless, but it was just like a very natural process.
Smooth. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm super happy for you. Like GMG is like, Vayner Media is like one of my dream companies, and I've networked with so many people there, and I've really like seen it's not just like because all of us love Gary, but it's even the people who work there just exhibit so much confidence in their work. And I feel like when one is in their early 20s, you're really like crafting your identity, like building up your work ethic, shaping who you as a person, what are your beliefs, what is your character. And I feel like being in like such a great machine where everyone's ambitious, working hard, but also like really like polishing their character, I feel like it's such an invaluable experience. So I'm so stoked for you. Like it's only like an upward journey from here. So props to you, man. Props to you.
Thank you, Devika. I appreciate that.
Of course. I wanted to ask you a last question on this topic is, what does your day-to-day look like as an influencer marketer? Because I feel like it's a very unique position. So I'd love to know.
Totally. Yeah. So I have lots of meetings with my team to go over, the status of the campaigns, because things change like every day. Like things can, change in an instant. So we're always just, communicating with each other and with the account managers to see, what the brand is saying about the influencers and the content. So I guess like the first step is sourcing the influencers. So I did a lot of that starting out, especially. And so, we gather their analytics, their following, their demographic, and just like, lay that all out for the brand. And then we have to basically like pitch them too. So we'll just write out, rationale, like why we think that they're a good match for this campaign, because the brand is putting their trust in us to find the perfect influencer to reach their market that they want, so that they can, get, sales and customer, all of that, so that it's like, beneficial for everyone. And then we'll outreach to them. We'll craft, emails. We'll craft the brief so that they understand exactly what is being asked of them, and then just reviewing content as well. In my campaigns, I have 2 campaigns that I'm kind of like spearheading right now. And I am just in the beginning stages, so I haven't yet gotten to the stage of like reviewing their content and making sure that it, follows to a T, but that's coming very soon, I think. And then after, we just have to review the analytics and give the brand feedback on how we think that it went. And it's just super fun. It's like, fast moving, fast paced, and it's just really cool to be involved in social media and have that be a key aspect of your job. And I'm like super surprised, because like I'm not really on TikTok a lot, but it's like most of the campaigns are TikTok now. So it's like I've been on TikTok more than I have in my whole life, which is so
that's amazing. So maybe it's a silly question, but who do you guys represent? Would you work from the influencer side to help them find brands to work with them, or do you represent the brands to find the right influencers to fit into them?
At GMG, the brand would tell us, what they're looking for, and then we'd reach out to the influencers. And then like at my other agency, I was doing like the complete opposite, which is really cool to have experience on both sides. And I've always like heard from, mentors and people that I've spoke with, is that it's good to just try a whole bunch of different things and figure out what you like. And so it's really cool to have both of that experience. And I really like just getting to write about the influencer, like incorporate, the writing aspect and say like, why they're a good fit for this brand or this campaign. So I really enjoyed that aspect, both at my old agency and at GMG, to just like explain to the brand, why this influencer is just like a perfect fit for their product or their campaign. Yeah. And it's really cool to help build those relationships as well.
That's amazing. On that note, I would like to ask you, what would you say is your story as a person from when you were born to bred to today?
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I feel like I have like not like exactly the most normal life. So I grew up in Massachusetts. We lived in Marshfield, which is, a nice little town. And then the recession happened. I think that was like 2000, I don't remember exactly when. And my parents got laid off from their jobs. And so they, found, obviously they like always had jobs, but they like moved around a lot because of the recession. So as a result, me and my sister, who is 5 years older than me, her name is Gwen, she's amazing. She'd be an amazing guest to have on your podcast too. She actually just did one last night. Anyways, I digress. So we just moved around a lot. I think like 8 times is the amount, like around Mass, and then in Maine as well, which is where I am right now. I like went to school up here and everything. So from like 2007, I think, until 2012, we were just moving all around, and at different times, like, my mom would be in one state and my dad would be in the other. My parents have always loved Maine. So, they like were just bopping back and forth between them. And that kind of like, threw me and Gwen for a loop, because we were constantly switching schools. We're always, the new kids in the classroom. And that was definitely hard at the time, but it was, I think, ultimately beneficial, because it made me, like I had to be, confident in myself and be able to talk to new people and just like, just be confident in that way. And so I think that it allowed me to develop some of those skills early on. It was definitely hard because I feel like my friend group was like constantly changing. But then when I moved to Maine in 2012, so it was like middle school, I met an amazing group of friends, and we're still, best friends till this day. And I started dance lessons too, which is something that I'd always wanted to do. And I had an amazing dance studio, and it was just great. And dance was like a huge part of my life. I did ballet and point, jazz, lyrical, contemporary. Wow. It was just my lifeblood. Like, it was my passion. I remember I watched Dance Moms when I was younger, and I just always wanted to be like those girls. And I didn't do too many competitions, but we, just like the group atmosphere of being at dance, like I felt like it was where I really shined. Because when I got to high school, things got a little difficult for me. Like, I just didn't feel confident in myself. I transparently, I'm like, I was a late bloomer, so I just didn't feel, pretty and confident compared to the other girls in my class. And just like, for context, like I, didn't get asked to the prom. I like, no guys were interested in me. So at the time when I, really based my worth off of what other people thought of me, it was just like not good for my self-esteem. And so school was just like really hard in that way. And obviously, like, I felt really confident in dance, but I'm not going to be, twirling around school. So when I wasn't dancing, I just like didn't feel confident. And that kind of like brings me to another topic, another like really big challenge in my life aside from moving, which is when I was a senior in high school. I feel like my like low self-esteem like really like came to a head, and I developed some, you know, not good coping mechanisms. So I developed an eating disorder, and that was like it started off, you know, very small. Like it started off as me just wanting to be healthy, and for some crazy reason I thought, I was like, okay, like I'm not confident in myself, but maybe if I'm just skinnier, people will like me, guys will like me, I'll feel prettier in myself. Because I feel like obviously, you know, with social media, it, you know, it can be really hard to not focus solely on how you look and to think that that's like the, you know, determining factor in your worth. And so I, you know, developed those habits and those, you know, eating disorder coping mechanisms, which are not healthy. And I started losing weight, and then it affected my dance performance too. So I didn't feel like strong and confident. And then I just got like, you know, really sad and anxious. And it was April of my senior year, I was admitted into a clinic, and that was really, really difficult because my life just took a complete 180, like overnight. Like I had no idea what was happening. Like you know, my parents told me that I was, you know, going to this doctor, and I was like, okay, like, and at the time, like I was like super unhealthy, and just not in a good place mentally or physically.
Yeah.
And it was just like really difficult. Like I was like a completely different person. And so it kind of like like there was like no going back from there. Like it was like a partial hospitalization basically. Yeah. And so it's like every morning, you know, my mom and I would get up at 5 to drive to this clinic 2 hours away. I didn't have to like stay overnight. But it was like, I don't want to say it was traumatizing, because like I had to be there in order to get better and like, you know, gain the weight and fix my mindset around food. But that was like so difficult because I couldn't go to school. It was my senior year, and I was like, I was just like feeling, you know, more sad than I ever had before. I couldn't finish out my last year of dance. I had to go to the recital, and, you know, I watched all my friends dance on stage and the dances that I was, you know, like supposed to be a part of. And that was like so hard for me. And just like, you know, dealing with that mindset, dealing with that aspect when my body was changing so fast, because obviously I was, you know, underweight. I needed to gain weight. And that was just like so difficult. And then I had, you know, college coming up that fall, and I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Because I didn't even know if I could go to college at that point, because my parents were just like really worried about me being away from them. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just a crazy, sorry, it was long life story I have here.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I know it takes a lot of courage to share all that out.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, it's very cathartic to just like talk about it. And because I feel like it's something that a lot of girls struggle with, girls and guys. And so just like if anyone who's listening, like if they, you know, struggle with eating stuff or, you know, not feeling good enough, like just know that like getting the help, it really like, it will put you in the right direction. It might be like really, really hard at first. Like it was super difficult for me, but ultimately it made me a much better person, a much healthier person, more balanced. And it made me so much stronger too. Like, I feel like it's so true that, you know, those challenges that you have, like taking that growth mindset, using it to see the learning experience and like using it to make you a better person is so crucial. And around this time is when I got into personal development as well. So I read the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I read The Secret. And I remember every morning on my way to the clinic, I would write out what I'm grateful for. And that really, really helped me to see the positive in this time when I was just so like distraught, honestly. And then thankfully I was able to go to college that fall. And then another kind of like defining moment for me was the summer after my freshman year of college, and I loved college. I had figured out what I wanted my major to be. I knew I wanted to study communications and media studies, and so I was like confident in that. And then it was my ex-boyfriend, of all people, he told me that he was graduating early, I believe in like 2.5 years. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know if I could do 2.5 years, but I was like, like maybe I could graduate in 3 years. Like that would be like, a year early. And I had already had like a good amount of credits. Like I had taken like, I think a little bit more than the minimum. And then I just kind of like made that decision and I was like, okay, like I'm going to do this. And it was something that I didn't know if I could actually do, but I made the plan. I reached out to my advisor, my professors, and I, took all the classes that I could during the semester and then during the summer and winter semesters too. And then fast forward to March of 2020, we all know what happened then. Yeah. And so the pandemic hit, I had to go home. And then I was like, okay, like I really need to I'm not the biggest fan of online classes. I definitely can learn with them, but they are not my favorite. And I was like, on track to graduate. It was definitely, a hustle and a grind, but I was like, okay, like I really need to do this because I was just so eager to start working too. Yeah. And people like Gary Vee, Ed Milet, Jack Canfield, like people like that, just like filling my mind with all of these positive people and their teachings was so helpful to just keep me motivated. And it definitely took a lot of effort, but it was just all worth it, I think. And then I was able to graduate in May of 2021. And that kind of brings me back to the job process. So that's kind of like my life in a nutshell. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I genuinely want to ask, like, how are you doing now?
Yeah, so right now, I would say that I'm doing really well. I'm loving my job. I have a really great supportive group of friends, both from high school and from college, that I just absolutely love. We're all, in different places, but that's okay because, we make time to see each other, which is really amazing. I'm actually going to see my friends later today, which I'm really glad. Yeah. And yeah, it's great. I really want to continue to grow in my career and in my writing, be the best, employee that I can, and to become a better writer. And I also want to hopefully move out of my parents' house at some point. I'd love to live in a city. And yeah, I think that I've definitely and honestly just like reflecting on everything too through talking with you, it's just like crazy to see like how much I have grown. And it's really, I think we should all just like, pat ourselves on the back for, all of the growth that we do every day. We might not see it, but like when you reflect and look back, like it's so true that like, you are, a new person, like, from even just like a year ago or a month ago. And yeah, that's really something that I was just thinking about. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for everyone who has helped me too, like to become, what I strive to be the best version of myself. And I just like, I couldn't do it without people in my life and without people that I, watch online too. Really inspirational people. Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I feel like I think it's very, very commendable that and I feel like people who struggle with these like very, very intense challenges and in an early age actually have a competitive advantage over others. I feel like only when you really, really go through these intense challenges, I feel like that gives you so much depth of character, because now you've like really, really felt what it feels to, like suffer or, like go through it or overcome it, that you can relate with so many more people. And it really like helps you like grow, mature, polish your character. So I think it's actually like a badge of honor. I'm so glad that you were able to go through that. You've obviously, I know like it was a hard time, but it's like helped you conquer like these bigger mountains that you couldn't have if you didn't go through it. So like it's commendable. Like it's no surprise you are where you are at today.
Thank you. Thank you, Devika. I think that that is so true, that like I never thought like, yeah, just like going through, some hard things at a young age, but it's so true that it made me stronger, and it made me realize that I can overcome anything. Like if I can, go through, moving so much as a kid, or overcoming low self-confidence and an eating disorder, that I can do anything. Like I remember when I was applying for jobs, like no shade to my family, but they were telling me like, oh, like maybe you should be a little bit more realistic in your job search and stuff. And I was like, I don't really want to. Like I want to strive for the best that I can and what I really want. And I think that we all can have that, like we just need to believe in ourselves. And obviously that's something that I'm still really working on. I think that it's just like you can do what you want to do, like you just gotta like, believe in yourself and just take those little steps to make it happen,
After listening to that story, I feel like your blogs make so much more sense, because they were like genuinely coming from such a place of experience, like you'd really gone through like some intense challenges, and that's where it came from. For someone who's gone through like nothing, for them to say like, oh, be grateful and be positive, it can sound like really cheeky, but I feel like those things really do help. And like you've gone through it and you saw like, even if it's like just writing 5 things I'm grateful for, how intense of an effect, an enduring effect it can have in your life. Like thank you for writing that. I feel like there's no more credible of a person to be able to like share those strategies as to like how to be the light. So I'm so proud of you and I'm grateful for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful for you, Devika. You are just like so like positive energy and like successful, and oh my god, like you're amazing.
Try. Coming to there's this question we ask everyone on the podcast is, are you happy?
Yeah, I think that I've always been a very happy, bubbly person, and I think that something that I've really learned is that happiness really does come from the inside. I feel like these cliche sayings that we hear, it's like they're cliche for a reason, it's because it comes from the inside. And I think that when I'm able to get my mindset right, that's when I'm the most happy. And when I'm just being authentic and being myself, like I feel so at home, like here or in my job. Like I feel like it's, the place that I'm meant to be. So I feel like when you're in that environment that really just lights you up, like that brings out your most authentic self. And it's like, okay, like, wow, I do feel really happy, like in college, like, a traditional college environment of like, drinking, partying, stuff like that didn't never really make me feel the best. And it wasn't like until I realized like, okay, like I just need to be in the right environment. And that's like when I'm going to fit in and just feel my best and my most authentic. And that's like, you know, when I'm chatting with amazing people or doing yoga or, you know, talking about self-improvement or just like having a really great conversation, like those are the things that really light me up and make me happy. And I think that if we can all just like recognize like, you know, what is authentic to us and what makes us happy, then we'll be able to bring that into our everyday lives.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. I'm like genuinely really happy to hear that. And I feel like happiness also requires a lot of effort, you know, like you are just like not happy by itself. Like it's great if you are, but I feel like you also like really, really worked on yourself, and therefore like happiness was the byproduct that, you know, you felt like I worked hard and I feel fulfilled, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, totally. And like, you know, every week, like I do, you know, my journaling and, you know, lots of reflection and yeah, just being really intentional about it. I think that it's something that we have to just like make a conscious choice of.
Yeah.
I love, I just like close my eyes or like I'm in deep thought. But yeah, just like, you know, you gotta like choose it every day. Like that was one of the quotes from either like The Secret or one of Rhonda's other books, is that, you know, it's just like a conscious choice that you have to make. If you just kind of like let life happen to you, that I feel like just isn't the way to go. You know, you have to be intentional about it. And that's, you know, something that I'm still working on myself. And I've found that through practices like gratitude and having a growth mindset and surrounding yourself with positivity, that, you know, it really makes it a lot easier, and that can help ingrain it as more of like a default for your mindset.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I remember like reading a poem which was amazing. The title of that poem was called Hope is a Decision. And that title just made so much sense. You know, like sometimes we're looking for things, like I'm looking to find happiness, looking for hope. But the title, like, it just was like, you know, like you said, making a conscious decision. It said like hope is a decision. And I feel like, thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like that's very like, very, very practical advices on how you can keep yourself in check and, you know, ensure that you're able to make those decisions for yourself. So thank you for sharing that. And to switch up the topic a little bit, what would you say is your favorite type of music?
Ooh, I love music. I am like, oh my God. So I've always loved hip hop and rap. I've been listening. I was actually just talking about this with my sister the other day, is that like, I've just always loved rap. Like I was listening to Drake and Lil Wayne and Eminem in like 4th and 5th grade. I feel like maybe not normal. I don't know.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
That's why you were like the cool kids. Normal.
Yeah, and music has just always been like something that motivates me and lights me up, and I just like could not live without it. So definitely rap. And also I really like rock and like metal music too. Like my sister really turned me on to that, which is like crazy. Like you wouldn't really expect that from me. Everyone is like so shocked when I like tell them that. And it's so funny. Like my first concert, like real concert when I was it was when I was 12. It was like a metal concert.
Oh.
And you know,
what
with,
artist?
Like, huh?
What artist?
It was Chelsea Grin, Escape the Fate, and Falling in Reverse.
Interesting. Damn.
Yeah.
What would you say are your top 5 artists then?
Ooh, definitely Drake, Travis Scott. Oh, it's so hard to like pick people. Oh, I feel like I'm like picking my children. You know, I also I also love Ariana Grande. She's definitely like one of my top. And then Tory Lanez too. I know that there's like controversy around him.
I love Tory Lanez. He has like the best voice in the world. Excuse me, like he's pure talent. Pure talent.
He so is. Like he just keeps going. He keeps putting out music, and so
I love that you love Tory Lanez.
Oh my God, me too. And then what's my last person? Honestly, I also love Lana Del Rey. She is just like, so I feel like I have two sides of me. So I have like, you know, my rap, like ragey side, but then I also have like my Ariana Grande, like pop side. And then Lana Del Rey just like, you know, just puts you in a certain mood. And I love her. I've been listening to her for a while too. My sister, I remember like when Born to Die came out, Gwen was like, oh, like listen to this girl. Like she's so amazing. And I was just like, her music just puts you in a trance, you know, like I love Lana, and it's been amazing to like see her like grow too.
Yeah, I'd love like your playlist, just by the way.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Do you have a playlist like on YouTube or Spotify?
I do. I have my playlist on Spotify. I'll send them to you.
Please. Okay, like this is off topic, but favorite Tory Lanez song, like top 3 Tory Lanez.
Ooh, what's it called?
Say it.
Thoughts. I couldn't think of the name of this song. I love that song. That one just has this like.
Is it a new song? Old song?
It's on Chicks Tape 5, I think.
How have I never heard of it? I'm just like.
It's like the pink one.
Ah, yeah. I'm gonna like it right now. I knew this was a good idea to ask you. I'm hooked.
Yeah. I'm like not to like brag, but I feel like I'm definitely like a music connoisseur. I think that's the word, maybe. But yeah, I love my music. And then I also To Dream just like makes me feel so inspired, and I will literally, this is like crazy, but so whenever I go for a walk, I'll put my earbuds in, and if like To Dream or like another, you know, really inspirational song comes on, I'll just like close my eyes and like visualize. And I feel like it just like, it's like the music in your ears and then your mind, and it's just like everything is just
you're
like
the music video, like like you're the main character. I get it, girl.
Character, like manifestation, like stuff like that.
Oh, wait one second. To Dream by Tory Lanez?
Yes. I think
Girl,
it's...
What music do you know that I've like never heard of? Excuse me. I'm just like, I thought I'm like a pretty big Tory Lanez fan. Like I'm supposed to know all his songs. What the fuck?
Oh no,
fake
that's
fan
okay.
right here.
He has so many.
Wait, To Dream? He does have a song which is called Bruv. Okay, I'm gonna like this right now. Like shit. Okay, third song, probably a new song I've never heard of.
Third song, I would say it's a tie between Shooters and it's like BBWW. What is it? I don't know the exact one. I don't know the letters. BBWW. BBWW and then Fake Show. Okay, I love that one.
Bro, I'm like just realizing how I'm such a fake fan. It's not even funny.
You're fine.
Bro, you're sending me a playlist, okay? Like, I'm embarrassed at this point. Like, I'm supposed to educate myself on, like, good music. What the hell? Probably know, like, only, like, the surface level music. I knew songs like, what was that song called? Miami or something. I was like, wow, this is such an underrated song. Miami by Tory Lanez?
See, now I don't remember.
You will love it. Wait. I'm sure it's called Miami. It's like To Die For. Miami.
Wait, is it, the Florida song? Florida?
No. It's featuring Gunna, the Red song.
Oh, okay. That, I definitely probably heard it before, but I guess it didn't, like, stand out enough because I'll, like, you know, listen to the album and then I'll, like, heart my favorite songs, and I guess that will, and then, like, add them to my playlist, so I guess that was one that...
Dang. So
I'll listen to it though.
Okay, you will love it. Tell me, where do you like discover new music then, on Spotify or YouTube?
Ooh, so I like Spotify. I have the Release Radar playlist. And so the artist that you follow, I think it goes by that. And then it's like every Friday it will update, and then also
I'm gonna write that down. Release Radar.
Yes, Release Radar, and then I think it's like 4 For You, or Discover Weekly is the other playlist. I sometimes forget about that one. But I think that's just like songs that it recommends. And then of course Rap Caviar, and also SoundCloud I like too.
Yeah.
That's like, that has a lot of the unreleased stuff on it. And so I like that for more like under the radar people, or just like people's older stuff that's not on Spotify. And then Lana's unreleased songs, a lot of them are on there, so definitely like I listen to her a lot. And where else? I think just like keeping up with the artists that I really like, and then also if someone has like a feature on a song, like listen to that too, and then you kind of like, it's kind of like mutual friends, like you find other artists you like, and that's amazing. I don't know, I just like,
let's like kind of exchange music, okay, with each other, like let's establish like this new thing. I just moved to a new city, and over here everyone listens to a lot of Afro beats. And for the first time, I couldn't like kind of build a connect. But once I really like started to listen to the artist, it's a vibe. And for someone who appreciates hip hop and stuff, I think like you'll really, really like it. Like there's some great songs which might be underrated to us because they're not very popular in the like pop culture, but they have like 200, 300 million views on YouTube. So I feel like you might end up really, really like liking some of those. So I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Yes. Please send them all my way, please.
Okay, so this is like a great evidence of how my music taste is gonna start evolving. I and Emma are gonna start like playlist exchanges weekly. Perfect.
I love it, and I'm gonna send you mine.
Yeah, super excited. Okay, tell me, what would you say is like your dream, ambition, or end goal?
I was writing about this because my next blog post is going to be like my Q&A, and one of them was like about my goals or my like where I see myself, something like that. And so in terms of like job stuff, I love where I am in influencer, as long as I'm in digital media. Like I feel like I'll be happy. Like I feel like because I studied like a broad array of things, like the marketing, PR, communications, media studies, which are all very similar, but they're also like different in certain ways. I feel like as long as I'm doing something like that, then I will be happy, as long as I'm making a contribution, a positive contribution to the company, and also writing consistently, expressing myself on there, on my blog. And also I really, in terms of just like goals in general, like I said, I really want to move. Maine is probably, not the place for me. I'm definitely more of a city girl. And honestly, like New York, LA, I don't know, like places like that, I'd love to go to move to. Floor to ceiling windows, a view of the city. That's like, my kind of vibe that I want. And also just day to day, just being the healthiest, best version of myself. And just like something that Ed Milet says is like keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So that's something that I'm really working on, is just like following through with what I say I'm gonna do. So if it's like I say that I'm gonna work out, like I'll work out. If something like gets crazy with work and I can only do a 10-minute workout or something like that, then it's like that's better than nothing. So just like keeping those promises like that, and just doing all my healthy habits that I like to do, drinking lots of water, self-care, just like in the day-to-day. I think that is like where I really see like me getting like the most happiness from, and then just like having great connections with people, and just like helping other people feel their best too. And that's like what I try to do with my blog. I love just like helping people, and like that's just such an amazing feeling, and it's just like everyone wins, like they feel good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And I think that just like happiness and positivity is what I want my life to be all about.
That's amazing. I really hope you do get to live your dream, you know. For the longest time, it was a huge dream of mine to move to LA. I'm from India, and but there was so many like visa, like situations and stuff to like handle. It was like chaotic to say the least. But by the time it took me a year to figure out all my paperwork and everything, and just like when I was supposed to have like my interview at the embassy, COVID hit, right? So all like kind of those plans came to a halt. But I just thought, like, oh, I wanted to like live, breathe, feel alive. I was also like, I am from a small town which did not have so much of a life. But I remember like a friend of mine shared with me, she's like, there are only like 3 ways to like really like grow up. She said, first you move to a new city, or you go through a heartbreak, or like the third one was something else. Turns out I think I went through like my first heartbreak, and that was the time when I was like, I had to let go of all my like, preconceived notions, and I just decided to move to a new city. I was super lucky that I had friends in like those new cities, so I was able to like crash with them and have a place and everything. But I feel like like there was never a right time which I would have been like, all right, like on June 1st we're moving. It was something I had to push myself to do. And when I came here, it really contributed to my growth in terms of like listening to music, eating new food, meeting new people, discovering who I am, without like, a daughter, without being a daughter, without being a sister, like who is Devika, when I'm like standalone all by myself. So, if you want to move to a new city, make it a target and make it happen. And, Gary always says, he says, like find your Avengers, find 7 roommates and make it happen, like learn how to flip stuff, save money. Like, that experience, like there's nothing you can't accomplish after you've already championed your life at 21. But I feel like, there's never going to be a right time. If you really want to do it, like set your intentions and go for it. Like you'll surprise yourself. And not all moments are going to be like good moments. I've cried so much coming here because I miss home sometimes. But like I know like this is so good for me. Like moving to a new city, like imagine I'm coming from Ohio to New York. So that was like my transition. Mumbai is like one of the top tier cities in India. So like that would be my advice to you. Like if you really want to do it, like listen to your heart and like you should do it. You'll love it.
Totally. Thank you for inspiring me. That is just like, it's so true that like there's never going to be like the perfect time for things. Like you just gotta like just go for it, and that's so cool. And just really inspiring to your journey of just like getting the confidence and just like going for it. I love that.
Yeah, and you have like amazing colleagues and stuff. Start networking with people. See, like amazing people you can split a loft with, split rent with, start networking with people. If you can crash on the couch in exchange for something, like it can be like so many different things if you start to get creative with it. Like someone's really hungry for your company. Think like that. You will need to find that person. So you can use Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, like on Gary's comment section, like internet is your oyster and you can really find your people. And being in like GMG and stuff, it really gives you a leverage where you come with it. Like, you can always refer someone, help people get an internship, help people connect with someone. Like, these are tactics you can, like, you got it, girl. Like, I feel like it's more about like building up the courage than it's about like any outside thing,
Yeah. Totally. Oh my God. That just like clicked in my mind like instantly. That is so true that it's just like and I feel like things like we build them up so big in our heads, but when we like actually go to do them, it's like, I can do this,
What happened to my voice? Oh my God. My older sister just got into NYU for her MBA. So she's gonna I think she's gonna come in like June or something. That's like next fall. This fall, I think. You guys should connect. Like I'm gonna try my best to like come like kind of like sneak in behind her and like make my way there, but you guys should connect. Like she's also scared about like new people and stuff, and I'm like, girl, you got it. Like the amazing thing about New York is everyone out there is finding their own identity. Like few people are like just from there. So many people like flew in, like finding friends, finding food, finding this. Like it really makes a difference. Like I think you guys like should connect when she moves there. Like, it'll be awesome.
I would love to meet her.
All right,
Like lovely family in general.
yes. Actually, on the last note, I remember like I had this podcast guest Shibani who super credible. I think she did her MBA from Harvard, then she went on to be like she's a professional speaker. She spoke for like CNBC, Wall Street and stuff like that. And for the first time I asked her, I was like, so how is it different living in a top tier city like San Francisco, New York or LA versus living in a regular city? Like, how does it really make a difference? And she said, that the vibe is different. The fact that you have access to first class things, like if you want to watch a play, if you want to have food, if you want to like network with people, if you want to find a job, if there's a locality, like there's the best of the best is at that city, and that is what you're living and breathing. And like that is why it's so worth it, that struggle to make it out in a big city, like it's worth it. And that advice really stayed with me.
Totally. And yeah, like the vibe of it, like the energy of, somewhere like New York is just, it's unmatched, and it's just like, it's so motivating too, because everyone is there to just like, hustle and accomplish their goals and their dreams. And I would love to, just like be in an environment like that. And I have a couple friends who are thinking about moving too. So I'm like, we really need to, make this happen. Like, let's do it.
I'll be really looking forward for you to make this happen. I know you can.
Thank you.
All right. Next question is there anything that you would like to ask me?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. How are you able to like develop the confidence to like start a podcast? Like, how'd you start it? What like made you want to start it? And then how do you like stay confident throughout it?
So I feel like for the first time I discovered YouTube in my life, and like not YouTube as in like watching tutorials and painting and stuff, YouTube as in discovering YouTubers, like discovering Face Banks, Rice Gum, Jake Paul, Alyssa Violet. I feel like that was the first time I was exposed to seeing like young people making it out on their own, like doing what they love, making money, like living and breathing on the internet. And most of the YouTubers I found earlier were people who felt like they didn't belong in their personal lives, and that's why they started finding their identity through YouTube, which was very interesting to me. But I was super like camera shy, and I thought I looked really ugly on camera, and I thought like, who gives a hell, like what do I have to say, and so and so. But I had this dream, so what I started to do was, and that was also the time when I started listening to Gary. So I think he really like helped me form my mindset. He's like, don't create, just document. And I felt like that approach really spoke to me. That's where I was not thinking to like try and look beautiful, try and sound smart. I was just like, I'll just do what I'm doing and just record it. And for 1 year, I think I just recorded myself on the phone to become comfortable with the camera, and I've never released any of those videos. But I think by the 6th or 7th month, I felt like I found like I understood what good lighting was. I understood what like a good angle looks like. I understood like how to like communicate with the camera without feeling too conscious, because that's when I was able to be myself. And I didn't pursue college. And I remember like Gary said that the biggest ROI of going to a college is building your network. So I thought, all right, how am I going to build my network? And that's why I started the podcast. Initially, like I told you, I had plans to move to LA, but I had no friends. I did not know anyone. So I started like finding random people on Instagram and trying to invite them on my podcast. And no one would say yes, so I understood the strategy. I was like, all right, I'm going to hit up 50 people. I'm going to say one yes. I hit up 100 people and I get one yes. And then I got my first guest. But I did not even know how to screen record this whole thing. I'm like so technically challenged. And he turned out to be an amazing human being. He started teaching me what to do. Like we built an incredible relationship out of that. And I found him through Gary's comment section. So what I understood about like Gary's community is, because he's always pushing positivity and being kind and being generous and, like just being a good human being. His community is like that, and I feel like I found my safe space there, and I understood the strategy. I was like, I want good people who would not shit on me, so I started finding them from the comment section, calling them. And people also understand the power of social media. For someone to be like, why is this random girl trying to call me on a podcast? She gets like 7 views, like what the hell? But people who like in that game like understood, like, it's a long-term thing. So
exactly.
I started finding another guest, and like so on and so forth. I started reaching out to like up and coming hip hop artists, you know, up and coming entrepreneurs, or people who were just like me, who were completely lost, and you know, like just kind of not knowing what I was doing, but just kind of continuing it. And I started calling it building community. I thought like people sharing their stories is really, really powerful. I wanted to make friends initially. I started building my network, and I started understanding the more people I'm speaking with, the more I'm able to open my mind. And you know, like I practice Buddhism, and Buddhism talks about that, you know, how diamonds are polished by other diamonds, just like that.
Yeah.
People are polished by interacting with other people. So I feel like this was really like my college experience, how I really started like shaping myself, and interview after interview after interview I started getting more confident. And I think like I'm genuinely a good listener, and I'm genuinely very, very interested in people. And I understood that that's like I feel like that was like a little talent of mine. I found something I'm good at. I'm good at building a connect with people, you know. I'm good at transcending differences. And I just kind of trying to build my confidence episode after episode. I was able to do that. And then I feel like initially I was just doing random things, but I think after my like 15th or 20th episode, I understand like, wow, this like means something. This can really translate into something in the real world. So currently the company I'm working at, my client, she was actually a guest on my podcast. She worked at GMG for like, I believe 8-9 years at Pure Wow. And I got her at a great time. She was just kind of like transitioning from her job there to start a new company. Her and I clicked, and she offered that I can like create content and stuff for her. So that's how I understood, like for the first time I was able to understand what it means that people are the biggest ROI, like your network, your people. And also I got into the first round at like Media on the creator role, but I couldn't make it through because I'm not really an editor. So I started networking with people at Vayner because I was trying to build my reputation, and also trying to understand like, how is it that I can improve myself? You know, what is it that they're looking for? You know, like just kind of like I was just doing whatever, and I was kind of finding my answers through and through. That's how I connected with Matt. That's how I connected with Avery, who's like the president of Vayner NFT. You know, like different people. And I feel like everyone was just so nice. I really got lucky also. Like I would always take feedbacks from people, them showing confidence in me, them saying like, you know, like I'm inspired by what you're doing, keep on doing what you're doing. I feel like all those, like getting feedback from credible people, I feel like really helped me like inbuild my confidence. And like, I'm sorry that was a long answer, but I think like kind of an accumulation to like all of that was how this started.
I love it. I love you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I totally agree. I'm so interested in people. I love hearing their stories, and it's just so inspiring too. And I just love like, yeah, like how you recognize, you know, like what you like and what you're good at, and using that to build your community and to like connect other people. And oh my God, I just love that. I love you, Devika. You are amazing.
Thank you. And you know what was really interesting is that because I think I was listening to Gary so much, he really was able to open my mind, where I felt like I don't have equipment, I don't have a mic, I don't have a camera. He said, start with what you have. I had a MacBook and I had a photo booth. I started recording myself from the photo booth and started posting those videos on YouTube. So even before the pandemic, before like online meetings were a thing, I started, because people were like living in LA or New York or something of the sort, I started like having a Skype call and screen record that session and turned it into a podcast. So that way I was never like location restricted, irrespective of where one is, like whether it's Korea, Croatia, or New York or wherever. I think I was able to like genuinely like utilize everything that Gary said. And he said, you know, like he said the high school party rule, you know, if you throw a party in high school and call the coolest people, you become the coolest person. So I felt like that's how I took my podcast, like calling like the coolest people and like, you know, doing my thing.
Oh my God, I love that. Well, yeah, definitely keep going with it. If you need ideas for people to come on, I have a lot. I have a lot of like amazing people, like in like the business realm, and like rappers too. So definitely, yeah, hit me up if you need any more guests.
I would love that. Thank you so much for offering. And I would actually like love to keep in touch and talk to you more about like, I feel like I need a lot of advice in like my career and stuff. So I'd like definitely reach out to you to see, you know, like how we can help each other. And please reach out to me anytime if there's any way I can ever add value. So leaving it out there.
We will definitely stay in touch. And yeah, I feel like you're like, oh my God, you're just like one of my best friends now.
Definitely. You know, that's what's amazing. Like 1 hour of a conversation can lead to like some real life opportunities, some like real life connections and stuff. And I just feel like it's so empowering. Like, thank you so much for being like, just being great, having a great energy. As soon as you came on the podcast, I could just feel like you're warm and you're open, you're so beautiful, and it's just like awesome to connect.
Thank you. You too. You are gorgeous and so just intelligent and well spoken. I was honestly so nervous because I feel like I'm just not a good speaker at all. Like, I feel like that's why I write so much. But oh my God, you made me feel so comfortable and empowered. And oh my God, I love chatting with you.
Wow, we just had like a moment. Bro, you're a great speaker. The fact that you're such an articulate writer, there's no way you're not a good speaker. I feel like those are the kind of boxes we put in ourselves. It's very easy to say like, oh, I'm not good enough. It's difficult to say like, you know, I got this, you know, like I'm great at what I do. So you're listening to Gary, you're at a great company, like you're sorted, like mindset wise, like I'm super proud of you. Last question for you would be, what would you say would be your advice for young people? People are just like trying to figure out their lives.
That's a great question. Sorry, I just need to stretch my leg. My leg was cramping up. I think my advice, I think it's like a two-part thing. So first, like we were talking about before, is to just like consciously, you know, choose happiness and choose to, you know, be grateful, find the things that you're grateful for, and just choose to have fun in every day, you know, have fun where you are, even if, you know, like you're still in school or maybe you're not exactly where you want to be, like just choosing to be happy where you are. And then also one of the things that I think, I can't remember who's, I feel like it's like a common like quote, but it's like, things happen for you, not to you. And that was something that just really stuck with me ever since I heard it. So just like anytime, like, you know, something, you know, undesirable happens, I'm just like, okay, like what can I learn from this? Like taking those learning opportunities and using that to just make yourself even better, and like developing into the best version of yourself every day. And I think, like you said too, just like getting to know people, like networking, I feel like that's like a cheesy term, but like just like building, you know, the people that you know, building that like network, and just getting to know people, hearing people's advice. I think that is so important because we all have, you know, value to share and to give people. And I think the more that we can do that, then the happier we're all going to be and more connected we feel. And I think it's like, it's all, you know, up to each of us to, you know, be grateful and, you know, learn from other people, learn from all of our life experience. And I think if we can do that, then it's definitely, we're on the right path.
Thank you, man. That's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like, you know, even though one says like, you know, I feel like I would always earlier seek advice from people who are older to me or like, you know, very, very ahead of me professionally. But I'm understanding how like credible some advices can be, even from like young people, because like, you know, you really you went through it, you experienced it, and that advice came from your life. It did not come from, you know, like something you read in a book or something like, you know, some random motivation quote you heard, but it really like you heard it, you applied it, it worked for you, and then you're sharing it. So like thank you for sharing that. And I love the fact, and I'll always remember this, I think, even though consciously we know it, but I feel like, you know, your tag of saying like choose happiness, like that made a lot of sense to me, and I think that is something that really stayed with me. And I'm gonna leave the links to your blog on the description down below so that everyone gets access to them and really reads them. I feel like they're just like so well written, and if you need a friend, read this blog. It's like a hug, and it's a beautiful website, so it's also like aesthetically pleasing to your eyes, so it's a really fun experience. And lastly, would you have any feedback for the podcast, any way that we could have improved or done better?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I like talked a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'll give a list of people maybe to be on, and then you can have them on and continue to grow. I don't know. I think it was amazing.
I'm super like happy that you had a great time. And this was your first podcast?
Yes, ever.
That's amazing. So we really like set the standards, like the person has to radiate like best friend energy. So I'm super happy we got to do this. Emma, this is the start of our relationship. Please reach out to me anytime. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep our playlist exchange thing happening. And I'll be reaching out to you very soon. I'm very lost on life, so I'm trying to like reach out to as many people as possible to like seek advice and like, you know, really get myself sorted. So we'll be reaching out to you super soon.
Really amazing. And thank you so much for having me. This was honestly such an honor. When I saw your message asking me to be on, I was like, wait, me? Like, did she send this to the wrong person? I was like so surprised, like pleasantly surprised. And I'm just so honored. You are doing amazing, amazing work, and keep it up. And thank you so much, like a million times, for letting me be on your podcast.
That means everything to me. I'm gonna hit you up as soon as the podcast goes up. We're gonna slice it up into pieces of content on like LinkedIn, Instagram, and all that stuff. So, you know, please look forward to it.
Totally. Thank you so much, Devika.
Thank you, Emma. Have a great rest of the day and speak to you super soon. I will be listening to your music after I log out from this.
Thank you. Me too. I'll send you my playlist right away.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Emma. You're amazing. Bye.
Thank you. You're amazing. Bye.